morning, this is Joji and today is Saturday, May 19. I'm almost alone at home, only my eldest kid is downstairs and he's watching TV and I asked him to be quiet, but apparently his show is very funny because I've been hearing him laugh a bit, so maybe we will hear him laugh again. Anyway, I'm super happy to be recording again. I have missed journaling and that makes me super happy because I received many comments of people saying that they enjoyed. I don't think anyone would say, hey, your journal sucks, but anyway, I've been having many good comments about it and I feel good about it too. So yes, I'm happy to be back home so I'm able to record again. It's been a while. Last time I journaled, I was about to leave to Europe. I was in between trips and I know I was a bit all over the place. I had too many things to show and too many things to show and too many things to talk about, and the episode or the journal ended up being a bit long and full of information, but I hope it's okay that sometimes it goes like that. So I went to Europe during the last 2 weeks. It was amazing. I'm so lucky that I can travel like I do. It was fantastic. So if you haven't watched my previous journal, I was going to teach at Curious Handmade Retreat. It's organized by my friend Helen Stewart of the Curious Handmade podcast. And Helen organized an event in Bath in the UK, and I was very kindly invited to join everyone and to enjoy the beautiful scenery and beautiful group and the place, and everything was amazing. But not only that, I also got the opportunity to bring my mother with me. So we decided to make it a longer trip and we went to London first and then we went to Bath, and after that we both went to Paris, and after a couple of days in Paris I returned home and my mother is now visiting my sister who lives in the Netherlands. It might sound like we were just the two of us, but in fact, we were joined by very good friends during the whole trip, and we just had the most fantastic time. Both my mother and I know how lucky we are to have each other, and we treasure the time we spend together when we are at home, but being able to see all these sides and to have some time for just the two of us, and just for me to have the opportunity to spoil her and buy her nice food and take her to places that she's only heard about. It was the best thing ever. So, excuse me. So that was fabulous. I think the only negative thing was that if you remember the last journal, I was rubbing my nose all the time. Turns out that I was about to come down with the flu, so it was really bad, and it was a really intense kind of flu that took me by surprise and got me a bit down. I didn't have my usual energy with me, especially when teaching classes. I could see that I was not probably as funny or as energetic as I like to be, but I tried to always stay positive and to think about all the good things that were happening around me, and it was a memorable time. Among all the trips that I make, and even when I'm traveling the whole time and coming back and forth this was a very special trip for me, and yeah, it was fabulous. So thank you everyone who was at the retreat. I had the opportunity to address everyone during the last dinner and thank them for everything they show me and tell me. But again, thank you. It was an amazing time we spent together, and I'm very lucky and glad that I had that opportunity. So I'm back home, and I have some knitting to talk about. So first I'm going to talk about my only work in progress. I'm working on two things at the moment, but one of them I cannot show you. It's for interpretations number 6. So I'll show you the other one. I am test knitting a sock. Let's see. There we go. I'm test knitting a sock for my friend Tracie Miller. She's one of the grocery girls, and this is her first pattern. So it's like this. It's a top-down sock, and it has this cabled lace texture in the front, and it has a plain, beautiful plain back, which I really, really love. And so I might be the only one test knitting it, but I don't know, maybe she sent it to someone else already. I'm still recovering from my very bad flu. Anyway, these socks are, I'm using some yarn that I bought while I was in Savannah. This is Copper Corgi, I think it's Jone Street Sport. And I'm not, oh yes! This is super, super unexpected that I have a tag, but anyway, this is the tag of the yarn I'm using, Copper Corgi. I cannot say enough good things about this yarn. I bought it, I picked it, I bought it because it was amazing, and it's just fantastic. So this is Jone Street Sport, so it's a bit thicker than your usual sock weight yarn, which is fine with me. I like socks to be a bit denser than usual. And this is 60% superwash merino, 30% alpaca, and 10% silk. And the beautiful thing about this yarn is that the natural yarn and dyed yarn is gray. I think it's because of the alpaca. So it's a heathered gray, and then Sarah over-dyes this gray yarn, and she achieves these autumnal beautiful colors. All her palette for this yarn is has this heather muted appearance, because of course it cannot be completely saturated with the gray background. And I would have picked any of her colors, seriously. I don't like to spend so much in yarn that I don't know what I'll be using for, but so I only got one skein of this, but now I'm just regretting it a lot. So the colorway is called Goldenrod, and again, she's Sarah, she's Copper Corgi, and she's local from Savannah, Georgia. Yes, so I'm using my Chagu needles 2.25, and I'm doing magic loop. The sock has a heel flap, and I don't know what the rest of the sock will be like because I haven't designed it, so I'm just following the instructions, but so far the instructions are very clear. I'm really liking the way the yarn is working with the design, because you can really see the cables. And of course I'm all about this yellow golden color. I really, really enjoy it. So I'm very happy to be helping my friend, and also in the process to be making this beautiful pair of socks. Yes, so basically that's it. That's everything that I'm working at the moment. I have to cast on a new project. today. So I won't be able to show you what it is because it's for a publication, but I wanted to show you the yarn. So I'm going to talk more about this yarn in a moment when I talk about our featured pattern, but I'm going to be using again Sweet Fiber, Sweet Merino Lite. And this time I'm going to be using the color Dusted Rose. So what happened is that I was supposed to be working with a different yarn for this publication, and we tried to have it shipped to some of the places that I was going to be in Europe, and sadly the post didn't perform, and so the yarn couldn't make it to my hands in time, which was super unfortunate for everyone. I'm sure the dyer is a friend of mine, and I'm sure she's super disappointed and super sad. I'm also sure that the publication is they are in between the dyer and myself, and they had this idea of what they wanted to use, and I couldn't get my hands on it. And so, as you know, I cannot receive parcels in Argentina, so there was no way for me to get it in time to make it to their deadline, which is in July. So I sent them some alternatives that I had at home in my stash, and they picked this one, which is the closest to what they had in mind. And I'm very happy. I was very happy to work with the yarn I was being sent, but since that won't work, I'm very happy to be using my own stash. And yeah, I can't say again enough good things about Sweet Fiber. I've used it in the design I published this week, and Melissa is a genius with color, again, another one. And yeah, I picked this color myself too. When I visited Canada last year, Melissa was so kind that she brought some of her yarn to the 88 Stitches yarn shop, and I could pick my favorite colors to bring home with me, and of course I bought that from her. So yes, so that's it for works in progress. I hope I can show you some more next week, but I have some finished objects too to show you. So my mom and I have been knitting while we were away, and my mom has one work in progress with her. If you remember last episode, I showed you some yarns from Madelinetosh, and I told you we were going to make two tops, one in Sportweight or heavy Sportweight. To me it feels definitely like a TK, but I've heard from Madelinetosh it's a Sportweight, so we're going to call it the Sportweight. And so I was going to knit with a Sportweight, a top, and Mom was going to knit the same top in fingering weight. So Mom is almost done with that, but she's got that with her in the Netherlands, and I finished my version of the summer top. Okay, so it's very simple, very basic. The gauge is quite open, so it grows super fast, and as you can imagine, it's so easy to make that we could both work on this while we were traveling and just visiting, sightseeing. Yeah, it was really good. There's a definite color change here between skeins, but we don't mind. I actually kind of like the color sort of color blocking between the top and the bottom. So I'm embracing it, and I really like it. And yes, so it's straight, it has no way shaping, and at the bottom it has a bit of a high-low hem. And this pattern, I have to write it, and then I have to test it, and then I need to send it to Madelinetosh. And these patterns, they usually put them for sale on their website, and they handle all the tech editing and the layout of the pattern and all the sales. So these patterns that I send to Madelinetosh, they are not sold through my usual Ravelry shop, and they just become property of Madelinetosh. So I am not sure when this pattern will come out, but hopefully as soon as I finish editing it. So again, the yarn that I use for this beautiful top is Madelinetosh Work Sock. So again, this is a Sportweight, and these skeins are super heavy. These are 200 gram skeins and 400 yards of heavy Sportweight. And for my top, I use 1 and I'm gonna say maybe 60-70% of the second one. So very good deal. I think it's a very successful design. I'm very happy with it, and yes, so that's what I will be writing this week, probably today, because I've been taking some more time off. I've been sewing like crazy, and so probably I have to sit down and write today. And the other project that I want to show you is again, I was packing last minute the morning before leaving, and I decided that what if we finish the tops, what if I have more time in my hands and I don't have anything to work on. So I had a commitment to design something also for a class that I'm teaching here in Buenos Aires. So in October, Vogue Knitting Live events or trips is bringing a group of travelers to South America, Argentina and Uruguay, and I'm going to be teaching them one course. So I'm teaching the same course twice, once in the morning and once in the afternoon, half of the students in the morning, half of them in the afternoon. And this course is called Multicolor Projects and talks about how to use your stash, how to combine colors, and how to mix your leftovers and the yarns that you have and new yarns in a creative way. So what I did was, and they asked me to design a pattern for these travelers so that they can work on something while they are here. And so I knew that they were going to visit Malabrigo yarn and they could get yarn from them. So I picked a skein of Rastita, which is like again a heavy sport weight like DK yarn, and it's a single ply in the colorway Plomo, which is like a gray, purpley gray. And I emptied my leftover bin and I picked different leftovers in a sequence that could make a color progression. So I stranded my leftovers and I carried them along with my main color. So the bottom ribbing is just 2 strands of my main yarn, and then I carried the main yarn with 1 strand of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different colors. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different colors, yes. And I think it turned out fantastic. Let me see. This is Glacier by Bien Aimée. It was special colorway that they made for interpretations. This is a mini skein of yarn that Tracie and Joji sent me, and I have no idea what it is. I need to contact them to see if they remember. They're all fingering weight yarns. This is Glass Bottom Boat. This is Esoteric, Button Jar Blue, and Depth, all of these by Madelinetosh, and all of them were used in different projects, so I clearly like that tealy, turquoisey spectrum. This pattern could be made with any color combination. It doesn't have to be an analogous or like a sequence of colors like the one I used. It could be like any random colors. The idea is that you put together colors in a way that makes you happy, and to make them come together you carry one yarn along. So This pattern is very easy to make. I was traveling and knitting this lace. I had it in my phone, my chart, and I was just working on it as I was going. It was very fun to see all the different colors pop up in my knitting as I was making progress, and I really love the finished result. I think it looks intriguing and warm and cozy and just different than other things that I'm used to design. And I hope that these travelers will enjoy it. So this pattern will be available for everyone, but only after the retreat happens. So that's after October, which is fine because this is a warmer, like a warm accessory for a cold weather, and so probably it's better to release it towards the end of the year. But I just wanted to show it to you, and probably when I release it I'm going to bring it back to the journal in several months. So that's the other thing that I've been working on. It's been super fun. And let's see, so last journal was a bit long, and since now we have the whole sewing section, I don't want the journal to be excessively long, and I feel like if I show you everything that I brought from my trips and everything that I was given, it just becomes too long, and I really want to keep it a bit shorter. So I'm only going to show you some things that I just were around the house today, and therefore I remember to bring them to the journal. So the first thing I want to show you is some yarn that I bought. There was a marketplace at there was a marketplace at the retreat, and there were several new to me dyers and makers, and I took the opportunity to buy some yarn from them. So the first maker that I had, that I was looking forward to meet and get yarn from, is Olann. I had never seen her yarn in person, and it's absolutely stunning. Stunning. All of her colors are fabulous. And also Chess is I had never met the dyer before. She's called Chess, and we got the opportunity to hang out and talk a bit, and she was also in one of my classes, and she's an absolutely adorable person, also very cool, and I was very lucky that I always like to know a bit more about the dyers. Every time I find a new one to me, I like to know their stories, or even if they don't have any interesting or crazy story to tell, I like to know what their personalities are like and what things they like, because then when I design with their yarn, I can sort of give that new design a personality too, inspired by whoever's behind that yarn, and also the fact that the person behind that yarn is a beautiful person or a kind, generous maker also makes me want to work with their yarns more. So I was very happy to meet Jess and get some of her yarn. I got 2 skeins of this. This is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. It's called Sock Lite, and this color is called Ghost Rider. And also a dyer that I had heard a lot of, but I had never got a chance to meet or get yarn from, is Uschitita. And Steffi was an attendee at the retreat, which was fabulous because we got the opportunity to see her more, other than just at the marketplace. And yes, she came with her partner and business partner. They were both really fun, and they had their booth at the marketplace, and of course I bought some yarn from them, which is, the camera has no way of giving a proper representation of how beautiful this yarn is. There's no way the camera can do that. No. This color is undescribable. So this is all 100% superwash merino, and it's her merino singles base, and this colorway is called Yoga. This is called Kitty, and this is called Owl. Owl. Oh, is it a W? Maybe it's Owl? Whatever, you know I'm not good with names. And then, yes, so then I was greeted by a very, very generous maker who came to the marketplace only. She was not an attendee, and she was so sweet, and she brought me a present. And so she brought me some of this yarn. I think her husband dyes it because it says Mr. B of Birdstreet UK. You guys, this is so beautiful. It has speckles, and I think I'm going to cast on a new pair of socks today with this, just basic socks for me. So this is just Rust LaRue. It's 75% merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina, and it's 425 meters in 100 grams. Perfect sock yarn. At least perfect for me. I don't think you could bring a more perfect color. So thank you again so much. But the thing that really touched my heart is that she said that she was she was watching my journal, my latest journal, and she said that she heard when I said I didn't have many prices, or I didn't have any chances to get prices for my knit-alongs, and so she was so sweet that she brought a prize for me to give away, which is fabulously generous. I don't know how to do a giveaway other than doing a knit-along, but I'll try. So this is Birdstreet UK. You can, I think they have an Etsy shop because that's what the tag says. And this is a beautiful big sweater size project bag in this amazing rustic yarn print fabric with a drawstring, my favorite, and also the coolest lining. So please leave a comment below. No, not below. We're gonna do it in my Ravelry group, because then everything gets mixed up. Please go to my Ravelry group. I'm going to open a special thread for this giveaway, and just say hello. You don't have to say anything. Just leave a comment there and say, hello, I want to win this bag. And yeah, that's it. That's how we'll do it. Very difficult. And yes, so that's what I got from Bath. And then we went to Paris, and of course we had to visit Paris's most famous yarn store called Loisivete, or now La Bien Aimée, but also because I'm really good friends with Amy, the owner, and Amy was staying with us and hanging out with us while we were in Paris. So of course our first stop sightseeing was to visit her yarn shop and to buy some goodies, and I bought a lot of yarn from her. because I didn't want to pass the opportunity. But I wanted to show you these three because this might become a project soon. It took me a while to get these three together, but I'm really happy with the combination and my face. So this is the Magellanic Cloud. It's purple perfection. You know, I'm going back to purple after a break, so I love it. And then this hot fuchsia is called Flashy Lipstick. These two are in her Merino singles base, and then I got a skein of mohair. This is 70% mohair, 30% silk, and this colorway is called Rose Quartz. Beautiful. So that's it for Paris. And just one more thing regarding knitting. I finally got something that I had purchased a long time ago. So if you remember, in one of my first journals, I talk about my straight needles and what kind of straight needles I like to use. And ever since, I've been showered with offers to send me from knitters to send me their vintage straight needles, and I truly appreciate, but I don't think I need more. But I still, when I talked about my straight needles, I thought, okay, people are going to go and buy straight needles, and then my stockist is going to run out, so I better get a new set. So I bought a new set of my favorite straight needles ever. And these are the Knitpro Zings. They come in this gorgeous set. They are 40 centimeters long or 16 inches long. For those of you who are interested in seeing how I knit, I take my right needle and I put it under my armpit, and then I knit with my needles like this. So my left hand needle moves and my right hand needle just stays there stuck or tucked under my armpit. For those who wonder how I knit in the round with straight needles, I don't. When I knit in the round, I have to use circular needles. There's no way around it. But for things like shawls and wraps and cardigans and every section of a pattern that doesn't require to be joined in the round, I move my stitches to straight needles, and I use this for my knitting. So I have a new set, and I might consider gifting this to my mother, but I don't know. She has to earn this. So I just wanted also to mention the price, because I think it's a really good value. So I got this from Woolstack. I have no associations with them, and my set was a total of £30. I got this in the UK. I don't think you can actually purchase 16-inch long needles in the US. They're very hard to find, but in Europe they are more available, so yes. Anyway, so let's talk a bit about sewing. Of course, I couldn't bring my sewing machine with me on my trip, so I couldn't sew while I was there, but I tell you, I was missing my sewing machine a lot. So I did go to fabric stores and I purchased several pieces of fabric. Remember everything I said about keeping my sewing habits affordable and low budget? Okay, I take that back completely. I I was enchanted by beautiful fabrics that I had no idea I would love so much. So I did buy a few pieces of fabric that were more expensive than I would normally spend here at home. I'm not going to show you all the fabrics that I got because I think it could be more fun to show them as I make stuff out of them. But I did go to the Ray Stitch in London, and then we went to Liberties, and then we went to John Lewis and also bought some fabric, and finally we went to a yarn store called Little Whistle in Paris, which is beautiful. I forgot to mention it. Beautiful yarn shop, and we were visiting my friend Tuba, who was holding a trunk show there. But just in front of the Little Whistle yarn shop, there's the Little Whistle fabric shop, and they have had a beautiful selection of fabrics too, so I also purchased some fabric there. Yes, as soon as I got back home, I felt the urge to sew some things. So the first thing that I picked up was this pattern. I bought this pattern from the Ray Stitch in London, and it's called The New Look. It's by Simplicity Patterns, and it's the 6217, and it brings instructions, or at least pattern pieces, to make view V, I suppose. They show it in two different colors, but it's like the same. And then this little cardigan, and then skirt and trousers. But I bought the pattern because I wanted to make the top. The shop had a couple of samples made out of this top, and so I thought that looks good and easy enough and simple enough for me to make, and so I bought the pattern. So I decided to make one first top out of some white or off-white linen that I had at home. Again, I had a lot of pieces. This necklace was a gift from my new friend Jone, who was at the retreat. So I accessorized my top with it. So the top is really beautiful, I think. It was kind of easy to sew, although bias binding is my nemesis. I find it so hard. And this is like a tiny rolled edge, so it wasn't so hard to make as the bias binding here. However, when I was cutting this top, I had someone mentioned that she found that the neckline in the top was too wide, and that she mixed up this pattern with the willow tank top neckline. And I thought, okay, I'll just go ahead and finish it, because I don't know if that will apply to me too, if I will also find that. And yes, actually the neckline comes maybe this wide, and therefore my bra straps show, and it's just not a bit, it's quite wide. So next time, if I make it again, I'm going to modify that. I'm happy I made it though, because I think that if I hadn't made it, I wouldn't know how narrower I want it. So I'm really happy. I wore it last night anyway. I just wore a tank top underneath, and it fits super nice. I love the cut. I love the fit. I love the sleeves, the sleeve caps. I love everything about the top. I'm really happy with my fabric choice. So I don't know if I might make the same, using the same fabric, because I have so much of that linen. Using the same fabric and adjusting the neckline, or if I'm going to try a different pattern. Because I made a pattern exchange with my new friend Marilla Walker. So Marilla was so kind, she sent me the Maya pattern top, because she saw that I was trying to make basic tops, and I sent her some knitting patterns, in return. I'm super excited about that possibility, and I took a look at this Maya pattern, and it looks really amazing, and it has a lot more guidance than these simplicity patterns, or these new look patterns at least. Basically have the pattern for you to cut, and then it's almost like they tell you sew the t-shirt. and there are very, very little instructions. So there are no instructions, for example, as to when to finish the seams, whether you should zigzag or do something else, because truly I'm a beginner and I don't know when I should do those things, whether I should do them everywhere or just in some parts and not in other parts, and I really could use a bit more guidance than this. I find it even easier to sew from Japanese books than I find it that I found sewing from these instructions. But now that I made it once, I suppose I could make it work more easily. Anyway, I have now this Maya pattern, and I might try that one for my next basic top. And then I couldn't, sewing just one garment wasn't enough for me. I couldn't get my sewing anxiety off my head with just one top. So today, Saturday, we have a 40th birthday party of a dear friend of ours, and Charlie and I were invited, and you're supposed to wear something dressy or going out kind of attire, and I thought, okay, I might sew something, because I had bought some nice fancier looking fabrics from in London. So I picked this pattern from one of my Japanese sewing books. So the pattern that I picked was is called 07A, and okay, it's this dress, but I decided to make it shorter, so more or less this length, so that I can wear it with leggings underneath, black leggings. And so the instructions look simple, and I took a look at all the schematics and I figured that it was okay. I could make it. Some of the instructions are also given here. But the fabric that I was going to use, I really, really liked it. It's over there. It's a black cotton sateen, and I didn't have a lot of it. I had just barely enough to make this tunic, because it was also kind of expensive. So I was a bit insecure, and I decided to make muslin first. So if you remember, I had purchased these bluish fabrics, fabric by bulk. So I had to buy 10 meters of this in order to buy some, and I have used it before. I made pajama pants for my nephew, I made my willow tank top, and now I made this muslin. I don't think I would ever wear this dress as it is in this fabric, just because, you know, it doesn't have a lot of appeal, but it was very nice to sew the pattern and to get some practice before cutting on the better fabric. Probably I'm going to wear this as a nightgown. I don't know. Top stitching is still hard for me, and every time I see this top stitching I go like, ugh. And yeah, so I couldn't find the perfectly matching thread. This is as close as I found. So even for a nightgown, I would say, that's that top stitching. And probably I would add something like a lace or something, but it could work as a nightgown, I suppose. Yeah, so from this muslin, The things that I learned were that I was not going to do the top stitching in my second sample, and also not here. I understitched instead, and also I measured how shorter I wanted my good version. So this is the better version. Okay, this is the finished one. I still have to press it a bit more here because it doesn't have that top stitching, so the understitching is not holding the facing so much in place. If you have a trick for, let me get this out of the hanger. If you know a trick for keeping that facing down and not from moving up, please let me know. What I'm thinking is I probably will add a couple of stitches, invisible stitches here, so that it just won't move up. So it's the same pattern, 7A, from that Japanese book, and the fabric that I used is cotton sateen by Nani Iro, and I purchased this from the Ray Stitch. These birds are actually metallic and they are silvery, so the fabric looks quite elegant, and I think that the print, even though it's quite large and busy, it looks very modern. And yeah, my friend Andrea, who I don't know if she's watching this, but when I was looking at this fabric, she said, "Oh, that looks like an old lady fabric." And then I thought, okay, I'm not going to take it. And then I saw someone else looking at the fabric too, and I thought, hey, I really like that fabric. I'm going to go ahead and buy it, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. The pattern is super simple because I don't think the fabric needs any detailing. And as you can see, I didn't do a top stitch hem either. I did an invisible or slip stitch hemming, which I think looks a lot better than the muslin. So what else regarding sewing? Yes, very special, very special. I had a viewer, she's called Nu, and she contacted me when I was making the leather handles for my bags a couple of journals ago, and she gave me this amazing advice on how to handle leather and how to make it more friendly and easy to manipulate, and she was really, really amazing. And so she then said she was a leather worker and she had some leftover bits of leather that she could send me for me to practice, and she sent me a ton of stuff. Nu, you're amazing. She sent me finished handles, which are incredibly gorgeous and neat looking and just perfect, together with some rivets for me to try also. She sent me, oops, I'm throwing some of them. She sent me rivets, and for me the most special thing was the fact that she cared and she took the time to make even these beautiful, funny, and lovely schematics, teaching me how to put the rivets on my work, and I couldn't be more grateful. Nu, I'll show you what I make when I use this beautiful strap. I can't wait to create something for myself this time with her gift. And yeah, so thank you again. I feel very spoiled that not only you care about what I make and send me all this knowledge and all this information, but also send me stuff for me to send me stuff for me to work easier. It's amazing. I'm truly amazing. Truly amazed, not truly amazing. And okay, so we're coming to the last part of the journal, and I would love to talk about my latest release. And this week's featured pattern is called Bark Lines, and you guys have seen this before here in the journal, and I'm so excited that it's finally out and up on Ravelry, and and that everyone liked it so much as I did. Okay, so here it is again. Bark Lines is made out of sweet fiber, sweet merino Lite in the colorway Bruin. We have talked about that name also several times, and it features garter stitch and twisted ribbing, and then the twisted ribbing transitions into this gorgeous structural or architectural type of edging that yeah, I mean it's gorgeous. It's not because I made it, I just love to wear it. I'm wearing handmade dress today, and I'm wearing handmade shawl today, and I'm feeling really happy. So I hope you guys could get a copy of that. I would love to see some of bark lines pop up in on Ravelry, and thank you for all the beautiful words you sent me about the photos too, which were taken by my husband. And yes, so thank you so much. And remember that we have a beautiful giveaway, the first one for my journal. Thank you again, Birdstreet UK. Remember to send me, to say a few words there in the forum, and see you next week. Bye.